All right. So I'm going to talk about our EVOs. I work for EVO. I'm going to talk about the most difficult, longest, most expensive project that I ever worked on. That also was the most successful project that I ever worked on, changing our website to a responsive web design. So responsive has people who are detractors and people who are pro. I'm pro. So EVO started in 2001. I've been there the whole time, so I was there with the founder when we started, and over the last 15 years I've learned a lot, mostly by doing. So I run all of our digital and e-commerce at EVO, including the website. So this project was definitely a long one coming, but I really kind of ignored a lot of the vendors talking about mobile for quite a few years. There were a lot of M.dot sites that came out, a lot of different technologies that help with mobile that I really didn't believe in because I saw people checking out on our website. But this is really what compelled me to take a more serious look at it, and it's the percentage of mobile as a total went to 35%, and so I knew at that point, just the rapid progression, making a better experience, I believed would help, and the investment I thought would be worth it. There are 4 options that we saw. There's an app, M.dot, adaptive, and responsive. We ruled out the first 2 very quickly, just too much investment. M.dot's kind of a thing of the past. So we went with, we were sort of choosing between an adaptive website and a responsive website. And the criteria there are mostly, I think actually if I had unlimited resources, I would do adaptive because it can load faster, but you're basically developing 6 or 8 different websites, one for each breakpoint. Whereas responsive, you're sort of, maybe 3 different breakpoints and it's one set of code. So we went with responsive. But it was difficult for us. We didn't have in-house expertise. It was something totally new to our development team. We're an in-house shop. We have all of our own tools and features. So that was a challenge. So we hired in an agency to help us. This is the first time we've ever invested in an agency to this degree, and it was expensive. It was not cheap, but we kept it on budget, and we did that basically by being really, really disciplined about this triangle right here, the quality, time, cost, scope triangle. We talked a lot about that. At every decision point, it was like, what's the minimum quality that we can get out and get live, and keeping the time, cost, and scope in check so that we didn't blow it out of proportion both in timeline and cost. And we did it in a way that maybe wasn't innovative, but it came as a result of meeting with a lot of people in rooms like this. I heard a lot of stories about people who had launched their responsive site and it just totally shit the bed. Like conversion tanked or their SEO traffic went way down. I didn't want to do that. So instead, we rolled out as a phased approach. We isolated certain areas of the code, like checkout. It's a walled garden. We did checkout first, and then we released it as an A/B test. And then actually it tanked at first, and we blew it. And so we did a bunch of iterations on that, and we got it to the point where the A/B test was actually showing a winner for the new one. And we did that with each template. So that process we kept doing for all of those different templates. We did checkout, we did the product detail page, we did the results page, and we did the home page, and then we just went responsive with everything. And that cycle helped us to iterate and to learn while we released and get stuff out into the public's hands, so that we kind of learned as we went, and we made sure we were guaranteeing success. As we went into the process, we did a lot of different exercises around data analysis. We used things like Crazy Egg. We went deep into character counts to see what could show on a mobile device. We figured out what wasn't being used on pages, like our social actions, like Wanelo. Nobody uses Wanelo. I don't even know why we had it on our site. So we axed that thing. We got it out of there. We also took inspiration from some other great brands that are out there that are already doing this, right? It's like all this stuff's in the public domain. You guys, if you're going to change any feature on your website, go look around. I'm sure you do this already, but a lot of inspiration from great websites that are already out there doing a good job. And then also we did, this was probably the most valuable thing I think, is what I called anatomy documents. We went a deep dive on every template, every page, and we figured out what have we built over the last 10 years that's working really well. I think a lot of people do a web release and they orphan all of these really great features that they used to have and they kind of forgot about. And in fact, we've even found stuff in the last couple months that we forgot about. Like we have a Thule rack configurator that wasn't on the site for 8 months before we figured that out because we had missed it in our anatomy document. But those are super important. And we got some great wins. So this right here is one of my favorite things, our filtering. This live 63 items and shows up as items filter behind you. I haven't seen that in any of the websites until we released it, and now some other websites are doing it. I don't know if they're copying us or not, but it was a really neat feature. So we moved the postal code, like the zip code, up above city and state to make that faster. So when you punch that in, it automatically fills out the state and the city. So, just little innovations that, are stuff that we thought of. Maybe they're not innovative, but we thought of as the process kind of came through that we're proud of. So what did this result in? It resulted in a lot of money. So the conversion rate improvements were big. They were in 7 to 11% range. You forecast that forward, there were multiple millions of dollars, 2.4 million for the PDP, 4.6 for checkout. Checkout was the biggest win of all of them. And then we were under budget, mostly because we were really, really rigid about that triangle that I talked about. We tried to keep everything really tight. It also affected our ad spend. So that ad spend is a percentage of sales line. That's my favorite line of any slide. Some of it is tools that we've implemented, but also the responsive web design was a big part of that. Getting higher conversions on mobile helps us spend less on our advertising dollars. So what did we learn? We had a lot of learnings. I hope that you guys can take some of those learnings from us. One is mostly documentation. Document the things that you're doing really well, and make sure if you make any changes to your website, you're preserving the things that you're doing well. Document the ideas that you have along the way that you can implement. We actually didn't do this, and I wish we would have. But so many good ideas come out of that creative phase that you don't want to revisit later. So make sure you document those things. And then, yes, that's all I have really. Wait, there's one more slide. There's one more slide, and this is my awkward 10 seconds of pain. Okay, so this is our brand wheel. We developed this about 5 or 6 years ago. It was all the competitors in our space. And a lot of people that scared us at the time, right, are no longer in business. And so if I had animations, they'd be like popping in right now and it'd be way more dramatic. But it's really true. There's in our space, people are just going away. So keep innovating and keep learning from each other, and that will help us all succeed. All right. Thank you. All right.
Questions?
Yes. Is it Alicia?
Yes.
Alicia.
So are you a custom platform?
Yes, we have a .NET custom platform that we built.
All right. So what design agency did you work with to go with?
We used a company called Zaneray. They're a group out of Whitefish, Montana. Good guys. And
so you were able to achieve your deadline and get your deliverables on time?
Yeah, we did. We did.
How much did you spend?
Only project in my lifetime.
How much did you spend?
It was around $300K. Yeah.
That was a great deal.
I hear both sides of
that. If you spent $300K, how long did it take you to make the $300K back?
That's right.
If you looked at profit, it's hard to tell, right? Here's the problem with A/B testing, right? We all do these A/B tests, and they show X% conversion rate, but then it's at least for us, and I think as a whole e-commerce, conversion rates are always coming back to this mean. And so you've got this big win, and then you call it, and you adopt your winner. And so that's why I projected the millions of dollars of revenue increase. So if you look at that, it would only took a few months, right? Probably 3 months. Right. But in reality, I don't know. I would love to keep every test running forever, to see if it's incrementally adding value forever, but that's kind of a giant clusterfuck. So I don't know. You can paint it any way you want, right? Metrics are.
The original one would continue to decay. So relative to the even crappier one,
right,
maybe worse off.
And how long did it take you to do the whole responsive design?
It took checkout took about 3 or 4 months, and then the rest of it took another 6 months, so almost a year. Yeah.
And you mentioned it there's a whole bunch of secondary benefits, you get an inventory of all your best features. You rip out all that old legacy code.
Right.
So it's a good opportunity to clean house
and
refresh.
There was definitely some ancillary benefits, we went from MVC or from web forms to MVC, which I'm not a coding guy, but that's a big change in our architecture. So our IT team was really excited about that. We built a style guide, which was in there, but I kind of missed it. But a style guide, so that makes future releases on the website much easier because we have this inventory of styles that we use across all of our templates. So we just draw from that, and that's a working, living document. So there are a bunch of other little wins that came out of it.
What did you consider as your living documentation? If you had a living documentation tool, what do you use that carry?
Google Docs. I mean, we don't have anything amazing.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Site.
Yeah.
Pretty
good.
Put all your money in the site. That's great.
Yeah.
So what do you hate most about the responsive site?
I mean, it is more like it's more code to design and think about all the time because there's at least 3 breakpoints that we have to like now factor into every change. And like I even forget about it. Like I want to implement something, a little banner or some new feature, and like somebody else will be like, yeah, but what about mobile? And you're like, oh yeah, shit. You know, 40% of traffic's on mobile, and we have a responsive site. Yes, thank you. So it's a little bit more maintenance to deal with. But yeah, other than that, you know, and I really don't think. Had we not hired in the expertise, I think I probably would have been hating it because we probably have all kinds of bugs. It's like I think the JavaScript part of it is really intense if you're not in it all the time, and so having that depth of expertise, people have like rolled out 3 or 4 or 5 different responsive websites in the last year. Like they're just on it. They kind of know all that code, and I think there was high value for us at least where we were to get that technical expertise in house.
Do you be bound with that agency on an ongoing basis? Like they forever tied you now?
Yeah. So we had a really collaborative environment. I wouldn't say we're totally tied to them, but we're definitely like we're going to be with them for a while, probably. I mean, they're working on new projects for us too, and it's like a really good way for us to expand our IT team, and like we're able to scale up with them and then scale back down. So far it hasn't really been a problem in any way, but I mean they're using all of the same like JavaScript libraries that we are familiar with, so we can fix stuff that they do and vice versa, but they're just stronger in some of our areas. So we would be in some pain if they like went away. We'd probably have to hire like a person with that suite of skills, but I think we'd be okay in the long run.
Do you run a separate POS system in the stores?
Yes, yeah, it's integrated to our backend system, but yeah, it's a separate system.
How many developers do you have full-time?
On this project, we had about 2 in-house. So that $300K, that was our agency budget. So it doesn't count a lot of in-house resources, including project management and design and that sort of stuff. But yeah, so we have 4 developers, and on this project, we had about 2 working on it. Ebbed and flowed throughout the year. So yeah.
When you were testing your checkout pages, did you ever try a one-page checkout?
We did not try that. We did trim it back from what we previously had, which was multiple steps. Now it's basically, it's 2 steps really. So there's like a fill out your stuff, review your order, and then confirm. So and we're thinking about getting rid of that review your order page because it seems unnecessary. Felt good at the time, but
Just curious.
nice. Getting some hints there. Maybe we should. No judging. No judging. This is a safe room, right? Right?
We're in the trust tree.